Welcome to Coach SG and Friends, where we discuss topics that help you have a better relationship with yourself and others. I am Coach SG, otherwise known as your joyful friend. I'm a relationship coach and life mentor, an entrepreneur and speaker. I'm based out of Los Angeles, but originally from Brooklyn, New York. I love great music, deep conversations, and inspiring people to live their best emotional lives and create their most amazing love story. Let me introduce you to my two friends, Janessa Rose and Lisa Miranda. Janessa is the CEO of Motivational Monsters, a nonprofit that helps people activate mental health and emotional well-being through creative arts. She is the author of How to Stop Being an Effing Bum. BUM stands for Broken Urban Mentality. She's been dubbed the Tony Robbins / Cardi B of motivational speakers, and she calls herself the Galactic Goddess. Lisa Miranda is an actor and creative director. She's also dabbling in producing. She is based in Miami, New York, and Paris. She is a world traveler who speaks several languages, who loves life, good people, and good conversation. So we want to welcome you to our podcast. Let's get started. Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back. I'm so excited to do this episode because when Malika asked her question, you know, she got us all riled up about the social media distraction. So we just decided we'll do a episode about relationships and social media. Is it helpful or harmful? So because it had us going, we just wanted to do a whole episode about it. So is social media helpful or harmful to your relationship?
I think it depends on the perception of the people in the relationship and their intentions for their social media platforms. It depends on how they look at it. Most of the time, you know, couples, a lot of people get into a situation just so they can look cute on social media. That's become a thing. You know, that's like a trend, which I like.
Well, I want to look cute on social media. What's wrong with that? Don't hate on us now.
Oh, I'm not. I'm definitely one that would love, I've yet to, but I would love to have a dynamic and we'd be like, yo, we're like a social media couple. People know us and we have this bond. That's dope. But I think it's really about the perception of the couple. And what their intentions are for their platforms. It could be a problem, could not be, or one could have a problem, one can't. So it really depends on you.
But I want to say with social media, I think it's first really important to get clear on what is your intention and making sure the other person understands what you use your social media for. Is it something that you're using for your business? Is your business reliant upon it? Do your customers buy directly from there and you need to engage every day for a specific amount of time? Or is it something where, you know, it's just kind of like posting about your lifestyle? And also, what kind of boundaries are there with your social media? Have you guys talked about that? Because it might be important to have some hours where it's off or a weekend where it's off, depending on, again, what you use your social media for. Because I know it's so important to feel seen in this digital age where we're always on our phone. So in a relationship, if that's not clearly established what you're using your phone and your social media for, it could be really hurtful, you know? Like if I'm with someone and they're, you know, a sale just came through, it's a lot different than, well, they just wanted to see who might have left them a comment or watch their story while I'm talking, you know? So being clear and creating the boundaries, I think can be really powerful. Also, you know, at night, me and my partner, we sleep with our phones on airplane mode. Is that something you could do? Because I know some people can't. I know some people fall asleep with their stories. So making sure that the person that you decide to be with can understand and respect and have a similar relationship or a relationship that works for both of you guys.
Yeah,
I love it. You guys have a different perspective than you had last time. I like it.
You know, last time I was triggered by this topic.
And that's why last time's episode you didn't share, Sherelle.
Listen, the reason I didn't share about social media relationships is because I feel like it can be helpful and it can be harmful, right? But it depends. Everybody's got obstacles in their relationship. And I think it depends on if you guys have the same philosophy around social media. And, back in the day, I think not back in the day, but especially during like the 45 era, I was on social media a lot and I just couldn't believe the stuff that he was doing, right? So I was always on my phone and it was causing issues in my relationship, at that relationship that I was in at the time, because we didn't know how to communicate. So it wasn't so much that it was on social media, it was more her not being able to say, I need connection with you. So I think social media can cause problems if you don't know how to communicate well, or if somebody in a relationship, like, I'll give you an example. I feel like this happens in many relationships where somebody finds value in social media and somebody sees it as a waste of time. So if you're on social media because you're trying to get more followers, you're just trying to get your business going, you're trying to get your image, more popular, and you're branding yourself, you have to do a lot more. You may be creative with content or whatever. And your partner may not understand that. They may just see that you're always on social media. You're always talking to these people. And really it could be like, I'm responding to the people that are following me, that are engaging with me. So I maintain whatever's happening. So I think if it's just like anything else, whether it's like with family or food or whatever, if somebody sees the value in it and the other person doesn't see value in it and they see it as a waste of time, you're going to have friction.
And that just brought to mind the privacy issue. People share at different, have different comfort levels when it comes to
Ooh, that is
share,
true. That is true.
you can't, if you're in a relationship with someone, you're dating someone, how comfortable are they appearing on your page and in what manner? I remember I'd see sometimes on not my feed, but like in the general page, it'd be like someone in bed with someone, the other person sleeping, and it's like, he's mine or something like that. I'm like, who do I follow that likes this, that it's coming up under something I might like? Because I do like, I'm like, what's the backstory? And you see, this is the salacious direction the last podcast went in, and that's why y'all didn't get to hear it. So that's that about that. But for the privacy, I think it's very important to establish that, even with sharing good news, like if your partner or one of you guys are pregnant and when's the right time to share, you guys both have to be in agreement with that. Or if there was a loss, like recently my partner lost a family member and I didn't post because he didn't post. I wanted to, and I was like, well, I won't, right. So it's understanding where the other person is, how they feel, what might offend, how things might make them feel, and then having conversations about that. Because I love what you said, Sherelle, about it's the communication. Because if you have a poor time communicating, social media could just make it, that much harder because you have all this unlimited access whenever you have Wi-Fi.
Right. So I have a question for you guys. What do you think personally, besides we want to give people tools, and at the end of this, we'll give you some tools to work through your issues if you're having issues with social media. But personally, like you, Janessa, you, Lisa, like, do you think social media affects your relationship in a positive or negative way?
Well, currently, I'm not in any connections that could affect me negatively, but I was. And the last one.
Are you looking for a connection?
I'm always looking for a connection. I really want to have an amazing connection, but I want to connect with somebody who's a lot like me and shares my values, so that way we can connect beyond the physical.
I get it.
Right. But anyway, the last connection that I engaged in was really great, and I was excited. It was very new. It was adventurous. It was all these great creative. It was bigger than a physical connection. And it started to dwindle when I realized that social media was a big thing for the person I connected with. They were using it for business, but at the same time, it was more like let me use business as an excuse to value the attention and the things that he needed in through the social media platforms. And at the time I was highly upset, turned off. I didn't trust him. I didn't, it was even bigger than not even trusting, because after a while it became trusting. At first I did trust, but then it became like, is this the type of person I want to be with? Do I want to be with a person who, I'm sorry if you guys hear, I don't know why it's making sounds, but do I want to be with a person who is needing validation from strangers across the world? Is it really for sales, or is it, are you using, because he wasn't really posting marketing as much than he was his personal lifestyle, and he really wanted to become a social influencer, and he didn't know how to admit that. So he understood that it was out of pocket for a commitment in a relationship, but he tried to use business theory like, oh, this is, they need to know that I'm available. I need to engage with them in order for them to purchase. And I get that. But there was also an underlying sneak and lack of integrity between that. And that was something that had a negative effect on me. In the past, I had a connection like this that was really important, and it devastated me. It made me feel less than but I was younger and I didn't do as much self work on me. So I projected a lot of my insecurities about my connection with my ex-boyfriend onto him as him being responsible. Irresponsible. Neither here nor there with that. Once this came up in this relationship, I noticed the pattern. And it made me feel the same way. And I told the guy, listen, I think you're great, you're awesome, but this is not the kind of connection I want, digitally or physically. I don't want to hang out with you physically and you're lost in a digital world because you value the attention. It's not the money. I don't have a problem with you getting money. I'm such a money driven mind that I would help him create marketing tools on his social media. I showed him how to get more followers. I showed him how to do reels. I filmed for him. I photographed him. I would tell him how beautiful he was, all the things he wanted. And I realized and it was for his social media to push his business and his product. And still there was a whole underlying flirting and this and that. And, my ringer's off, my notifications are off. Oh, my phone doesn't work. The typical, I got a whole other life on here.
Right.
And
so it was harmful, to say the least.
Sorry. Yeah, it was. I'm like, I went in real quick, but no, it did. It harmed it. It harmed it for me. For him, I don't think it did. I think it freed him to what he wanted.
So then, then we got to look at it. Was it really social media, or was that just another vehicle of, access to other things that was disconnecting the two of you,
So I was going to say that prior to the question that you asked me. Social media now really, because everybody needs it no matter what. Either you're a business and you're using it, or this is just how we connect nowadays. It's become such a part of our everyday. It really lines up with type of integrity you have as a person. That's just
and I have a different perspective. But I'm gonna give you my perspective. Go ahead, Lisa, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. Have you had any issues where it's affected your relationship?
Actually, I've had the I don't know if it's good luck, the good fortune of most people that I really admire or have dated or are good friends with. Not most, but I'll say about half don't even use social media. So I'll get messages from people saying happy birthday to me, and I'm like, where do you say this information? How do you know it's my birthday? But something that was a big deal for me that I had to kind of get over was that I used to worry about how people who maybe exes specifically, or people I was involved with, how they would feel about my, fun, interesting, cool, sexy life. And it would stop me from posting or sharing because I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. So it might be one person in the whole world, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to post because of that person, or I'm not going to put this story. I'm not. And it was just so overwhelming because I was taking all of it, because then it became more than one person. It became like, oh yeah, and then him, and then it became just too much. And I was like, actually, I'm not going to concern myself with how everybody in the world feels. I can't help them. And I remember I had said to you, Shara, I was just like, does J-Lo sit around and wonder about what all her exes think about what she's posted? Probably no. Is she hiding her stories from all whatever number of them so that so she doesn't hurt their feelings?
Right.
I highly doubt it. So I was just like, I have to channel some of that and understand it's not my responsibility how other people feel, especially if they choose to go on my page or check out how I'm living and whatever judgment they make. Because there's also the big judgment with social media. People forget this is like a show reel of the good things going on in your life, not the challenges or the struggles. I mean, you can post a great photo and that day, you were crying hysterically. It could have been the worst day of your life. You could have had that set post that's set to be posted 2 weeks ago, or you could have posted it today so no one knows you were going to jump. You know what I'm saying? There's no real way to determine how someone feels based solely on how they're engaging on social media. It's just not, it's important not to have that kind of pressure to judge. But yeah, so that's been my relationship issue.
Can I share on that? So as I'm listening to her, I'm feeling like maybe that's how the guy that I connected with felt. Like, I don't want no pressure about what I'm doing and how I'm posting and everything like that, And I understood that at that time, but now when I hear Lisa saying it, it's like, for the people that are in relationships with somebody else like that, it's like, all right, cool. That's how they feel. But what about how you feel? You know what I mean? Like, all right, you don't want no pressure. You could post however you want. This is why I split with the guy. And I was just like, this is not for me. You know what I mean? Because I don't think we intend, and I know I definitely did not intend to control his social media behavior or anything like that at all. Never. And I never even, I only just felt like this is not a commitment behavior. You know what I mean? Like, we're in a relationship, you're selling products, flirting with the chicks on the comments is not part of business. You know what I'm saying? So whatever.
Oh, I did have one thing I had to explain to someone before because they were new to social media and they were following a lot of thirst trap pages. So I had to say that. I said, where do you go? Okay. I said, all the work that I'm doing with myself, I cannot in good faith get on your phone and unfollow them for you. I can tell you that you should unfollow these because this is a bad look with consequences. But I can't in good faith go and unfollow I said even if they're your relatives, even if they're all 800 of them are your relatives with their breast out, you're gonna have to pick 2 or 3 to follow, and the rest you gotta unfollow. But this is just my opinion.
You guys are funny. You are funny.
That was a big issue. No, because I don't know if you know, Sherelle, but a lot of times you judge people on the pages that they follow. It gives you an idea of who they are outside of the content that they post. Am I lying? Yes, am I lying?
Yes. I mean, no, you're not lying. You're right. Because I never looked at it like that, though.
No, I checked right away.
But here's the thing. I think everybody has their own perception. And I think that, I don't know, I think we make it a bigger deal than it has to be. However, if you're in a relationship with somebody who's following thirst trap pages, it is a note to self. I would probably get curious before I get demanding.
But here's the thing, Sherelle. Just imagine, because it's not just, they're follow lists. Remember, they'll go on Instagram and all you see is the nearly naked people. Well, hey, what's this on your phone? You know what I'm saying? Just imagine you're sitting there in the car or having dinner or whatever. You just scroll and all you see is big butts. With no underwear.
But is it okay? So in that instance, is it more to tell them what to do, or is it more beneficial to take that as that's interesting?
because that's what I'm saying. Some people don't know with social media. Like this person legit told me he was following these pages because his friend follows these pages. So he just hit follow on all 600 of them. This was his story. So at least I just explained it. And then you make the conscientious choice, which comes with consequences.
Right. What do you think? So we should talk about what are the issues that come up, right? Not just personally, but I think it's really about focus and attention, right? So people feel like when you're around them, they want your undivided attention. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think the way we go about it is wrong. Like, so if I'm like Dawn is on Clubhouse like all day long. just I am just not a Clubhouse person. It
Either.
sounds like a long ass conference call. I'm like, how are you still on this thing? But she's, she loves talking. She loves interviewing people. She loves getting to know people. And at first it was just like, oh my God, like this thing is on all the time. But then I realized if she likes it and it fills her up, like even if I don't get value out of it, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like if I want her attention, I have to say like, okay, we're eating now. Okay, we turn off Clubhouse, or when will you be free? Because I want your undivided attention or whatever. Because I don't need it all day long. But that's what happens in relationships. They see somebody on a phone and they want the attention. So instead of saying, hey, I need focused time with you, we manage and control them. And we say, you can't be on that phone all day. What are you doing on that phone? Like, this is what the conversation becomes. Go ahead, Lisa. I see a question.
But I was gonna say, like, a friend recently told me that when she was suffering from depression, and the first thing her doctor told her was to cut off the social media. So I'm curious because I know a lot of times when people are in a relationship and the other person is on social media, what is their energy like? Is it dropping? Is it, oh wow, these people have all these great things going on and I don't? Because it sounds like when you're talking about Dawn, it's like filling her up, and that's awesome. But I know that in some relationships, it's like comparison, feeling down, feeling far, like unsuccessful, unworthy. And in that case, it might be worth having a conversation like, hey, you should get curious about what kind of content you're exposing yourself to. Pressure, anxiety. Oh, I should have this as because I'll go on social media, I'll hear about these a 6-year-old with 8 companies, and I'm like, oh wow. Let me see that on the wrong day, and I'm just like,
Right.
And let me answer that for a second before Janessa goes. Is that how we were talking about we got to personalize things. Whatever experience is happening in our relationship is our experience. It's not the experience that everybody's having, and everybody's at a different place. Maybe that person's just learning to build their business and they've just hired a marketing company and they're like, you got to put out all this content, or they're with an advertising company, and whatever it is, they may be in a different place with stuff, or they're getting used to social media, they're getting used to being visible. I think that's where we got to ask each other questions and not assume, because somebody looking at maybe my social media or whatever may think something different than someone else who is always on social media and knows about marketing content. They may not be as bothered by it. So I really think it's there isn't one way. It's really you guys communicating, because it may look different at a different time. But go ahead, Janessa, what were you going to say?
So I did a vlog a while ago about what Lisa was saying. So what's really happening when a person is in this space of depression because of
the
social
science.
Science.
The science of Janessa. Go ahead.
Science. We need to recall it something, because I ain't a scientist. We need to call it like science. But no. So what this is called FOMO, fear of missing out. That's what we're experiencing. And in an actual research that was done by Psychology Today, they talk about this. This is one of the main things that's happening when people are like this all day. Not to mention, like the scroll of your eyeballs has an avid effect on our brains. And so this is all like really affecting us. There's people in China who are going right now, in Japan, somewhere in China, they are having recovery, detox off of social media and electronics because of the way it affects us. But when you're watching people you love and people you're engaging in a relationship, or if you're breaking up with somebody and you're like this on their thing and they're doing great, all that's really occurring, it's not them living their best life. It's not you living your worst life. It's just the fear of missing out on whatever you're watching. I'm not doing this. You don't even know this person. But let me tell y'all, like I said in the vlog, right? Because it's really important to understand this. Even if you were with that person, standing on the top of a mountain with a parachute on too, ready to jump off the cliff with somebody watching you, you will not experience the same thing that other person is experiences, because your walk in your life is unique. You ever hang out with people and all of a sudden, like everybody's partying and you got that one friend that's always there and they're just miserable, even though they're at the party, even though they're included in the fun, and but
All
they're
right.
just always like, meh. It's all perception and it's all psychology. You have an individual walk and it's like it's a crime to compare ourselves with one another. That's always going to be an avenue to depression. That's where it takes you, because their walk is their walk, whether it be an ex, a new person, a person you don't even know. That's the thing. We watch our social media will have us forgetting that we have individual walks, and there's different levels. Even if we're with people that are doing different things, we will experience it differently based off of the knowledge and maturity that we're at on our own.
It's more than just maturity, because I read somewhere we still have the same brain we did as cavemen, right? So our brain has not developed at the same rate and pace that technology continues to. So we're seeing all these things all the time that are better than, or prettier, smarter, faster, more successful, and we're looking at that, and then it affects our mood in one way or another.
Can I add something? So, because I don't know if I answered the question when you said the therapist that asked her to get off of social media. That might have been the prescription for her, because maybe she was spending a lot of time on social media, feeling like it was making her depressed. She was seeing everybody else's life, like she was saying with FOMO, like she's missing out on all this life because she's watching everybody's beautiful curated life, and it's not real life. And he may have told her to get off of social media. I'm pro social media, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I actually have a friend who his daughter is always on social media, and he was angry about it, so he took her phone. And he had just gone through a divorce, and she's dealing with the divorce, right? So she's on social media a lot. But instead of just taking the phone away from her, like, oh, she's wasting her life, you've got to communicate, because sometimes people use things, whether, we were saying in the other episode, whether it's drugs, it's relationships, it's food, use things to kind of check out, because they don't want to deal with the reality of what's happening in their lives. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes that's okay, because that's what you need at the time. I'm not into this social media is bad. I think it depends on if you make it bad for your relationship. And if you feel like your partner is always on social media and not paying attention to you, then ask for what you need. Don't ask to them to change their behavior. Ask for what you need and allow them to be influenced by what you say. So if I said, well, you're always on that social media and I feel like I don't get enough attention, that's me complaining, but that's not me asking what I need. So what I say instead now is that when we're having dinner, when we're watching TV, or when we're in the car, whatever, I need your focused time. But if we're just doing stuff and you could be on social media, I could be listening to music. It doesn't matter what the thing that is taking the attention. But if we put social media in a right and wrong box, we're always going to be fighting about what's right and what's wrong. But you can't be curious, you can't be open when it's in a right and wrong box, in my opinion. But go ahead. I want to make sure that we talk about the issues that come up for couples, or whether it's couples, family, like, daughter and father, or sister and brother, whatever relationship it is. It could be work. Maybe you're on social media all the time for work. But I want to talk about what the problems are that come up in relationships and how we are going to give them tools to get through it. So one, we talked about it being like focus and attention and disconnection, right? You're feeling like your partner's always on social media and they're not giving you attention. So, the way that we're saying that you can get through it is that you've got to talk about the solution of it. You can't just complain about the problem. You got to say, hey, this is what's bothering me. And even if I see it as they're following thirst trap pages, I would probably ask the question, like, I wanted to learn a little bit more about this, and this makes me uncomfortable because I'm in a relationship with you and I'm exclusive with you. And when you're following all these women with all this, it makes me feel some type of way. So we need to talk about it. And
makes
I think
me feel
the
violent. The word is violent.
I'm gonna sip my coffee.
It makes a lot of sense. I probably would feel a little violent myself, but I think we missed the, and then, it has to be okay. So what is it that you need? And then you find, whatever. But the other thing too is I think that some people really enjoy it and some people don't. Like when you see, like Janessa was talking about, she was like, oh, I would like a relationship where we're like on social media together. You see families and their kids, like they're going viral and they're doing all the stuff that they've made social media fun in their household. But if they had somebody in there that hated it, it would be hard to do that. So, that's the hard part. How do you align with somebody who is similar to you, or you respect their boundaries, like their privacy boundaries? Because I have a lot of privacy boundaries.
When you said like, oh, if you had someone in your household who hated it, I feel like, and this might just be my own opinion. I feel like the people that hate social media are the people who are not included in it. You know what I mean? Because then you have some people who are just not good at social media. They could, because they're not confident in their lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to. Because social media it's literally like a requirement now. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Lisa says she's got a bunch of friends not on social media.
I have a lot of millennial friends. I have a lot of, like, I can count two hands of millennial friends who just don't use Facebook or Instagram.
Do they own businesses?
Sorry?
Do they own companies and businesses?
They are all professionals.
Yeah.
Like lawyers, things like that.
What? You know what? But in a different sense, and I would love to get to this point one day, they hire people that do that. I would love to do that. You know what I mean? But I probably would still have my social media. I have fun on my social media. Y'all see me, I be doing stuff. It's fun. But, whatever. I don't know. And nor do I. Now, let me say.
Another friend told me the same thing. She said, well, the same, I don't know if the same from what, but another friend who's exactly my age, she lives this amazing life and doesn't post anything. And she said for her, it was, she just felt like a lot of like envy vibes, right? Like she's living like a fantastic, international, worry-free life. And she's just like, yeah, I just don't want, the gain for me is so little for the jealousy, the envy, that I just don't want to expose myself.
And you know why I love that? Let me tell you why I love that, because it's the same reason why I don't watch TV. Like, luckily I'm in a relationship with somebody who also doesn't watch TV, so it doesn't make it really hard. But if I was in a relationship with somebody that wants to watch every Netflix series and all that, it would probably be hard navigating that, or we'd have to come up with some creative ways where they watch TV when I'm not around. So I think, but I think with your friend is a great example of how it has to be personalized for you. Like for her, if she looked at it and it didn't make her feel good, she's like, I'm removing myself from it. But somebody else might get on it and that's not their experience. Like I decided that I have to use social media for work. So I'm not going to make it a thorn in my side. I'm not going to be like, I hate social media and I hate everybody's on their phones. Like, we go out to eat and, people are like, look at everybody's on their phone. So what? Maybe they've spent all this time together and that's their separate time. They're having dinner, but they're doing separate things. What does it really matter? I think however we believe it is how it manifests, and then it causes trouble. But here's the other thing, right? The other reason why couples don't like it is because now your partner has a lot of access to a lot of other people. And a lot of people on social media, they cut up a lot. They do a lot of flirting. They do a lot of, they'll know you're in a relationship and they'll still send you some stuff. So that I think is what is, in a thorn in everybody's side. So
okay,
let's talk about that.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna say before social media, you could really live multiple lives and there was no way to track it. You couldn't just go on someone's messages, whatever, or DM and then see what's going on. People had other wives. Like all this, and there would be no way for you to know unless you bumped into somebody, something happened. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, yes, you can do it right on your phone. However, if you wanted to before, there was a lot more ways for you to be anonymous. So I think it just shows more where the person's at, who they are at that moment, than something that's like, oh, You know what I'm saying? Like this phone is, you know, is morally compromising me. No, you're doing what you want to do, and this is the tool, you know, the vehicle that you're doing it with, I think.
No, definitely. And I had wrote an article for Miami, some magazine in Miami called She's Single or whatever, and we were talking about the difference between real life and social media life. And in the article, I'm like, when you're signing on and logging on to your social media, are you doing that in a fictional dimension? Like you're in real life signing up. This is real life. You know what I mean? Your behavior and how you operate your life, whether it's secret or, you know, honestly on social media is real. You know, and I think that's what people don't, people really like to live in this idea and like no one knows. I have this secret DM that only I have access to. And this is what empowers that type of behavior, but doesn't change the fact that in real life you lack integrity when you move like that. You know what I mean? Or you have a you know, a mindset of it's cool, like I share my stuff on social media, I'm open. In real life you're free with yourself, these are your personalities, there's really no, you know, it may even be unspoken, but people like to have control over the way they're being perceived. But if you look deeper into that, it's the real way you are as a person, depending on how you're acting on social media. So if you're being secretive in real life, you lack integrity.
But we're assuming that these DMs are secret, right?
Yes. No. I'm speaking in the sense of like, you know, I'm using my social media to mask other things. Like she was saying, people had whole other families before, there's no way to track it. And now it's like people are like, you know, no, I'm a good person. I'm great, you know, because on social media, you can't tell what I'm secretly using it for. But in real life, you lack integrity. You're not a good person in that case. But you know, take it as it applies. You could be like I said, free. Like I'm free. Yeah, I got a whole thread. And Monday there's John, Tuesday there's Bob, Thursday there's Sandy. You know, who knows? It's
But
people.
how do we, because if somebody's dealing with this issue, right? So if somebody is dealing with, I'm dating someone, relationship is great. However, social media is causing all this stuff because people are flirting with them or, they're getting all kinds of messages and it's bothering me.
It's like you said, sorry.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
It's like you said. It's listen, this is what I need. I need a connection that respects the fact that things like this make me feel uncomfortable and it's going to furthermore make it hard for me to connect with you. So I can't do it. Just like Lisa said, I can't take your phone and erase it for you, but I'm going to need you to want to do that on your own. I mean, she verbalized it, but deep down inside, what she's really saying is, I need you to want to be engaged with me and me only because this makes me uncomfortable. So really it's just expressing what you need and like, yo, if you can't sign up to that, I'm gonna log out of this relationship. If you're not willing on your own, or you're not a willing participant of respecting and honoring what I need in the connection, then I have to log out.
I think with online, social media, things moving so quickly, there's this climate of instant gratification. I think with that, what happens is it's easy to think you're in a relationship, but the conversation hasn't really happened. Or, you think you're more serious than you are, but maybe it's not clear to the other person that they didn't sign up for that. And I think that happens in real life a lot too. And I had a time where it was, I'm not on social media, but I had met this guy who I thought was so just perfect for me, right? And I was a little younger, and he actually didn't have social media, so that was another plus. And, and he was doing the most, the first date. He had like 2 little gifts for me, specific to what I had said I had liked in life. It was just very cute. And then the second time where he cooked me this dinner, and then he said something about how he doesn't want to be in relationships and he's not going down that path. And I'm like, hold on, huh? I'm like, this guy's doing the most. How could he not want to he cooked me my favorite food. Who does that, right? Unless you want to be with someone. So then he says these words and I'm like, Lisa, you're smart enough at this point, at the ripe old age of 27, you know better if someone says they don't ever plan on going in that direction, that I'm not going to be the one who tries to convince them otherwise. So I think I saw him one more time, but that time I was already like uncomfortable and may have said some things. But then the next time, when again he verbalized in no uncertain terms that he's not going to be in a relationship, no matter how nice and sweet and generous and
I love that
compatible he
guy.
is with
I
me.
love that guy. I love
Yeah.
him.
So
But
what
go
I
ahead.
did was I went home, I cried. My roommate came over and said, he's probably gay. I'm like, what? That was the best comfort he could offer me, and then I moved on. So I think with social media, it's this kind of this environment where people think, oh, well, we're talking or we're flirting. He said he wasn't so clear, or he didn't say, or I want to hear what I want to hear. There could be a problem. I'm not going to ask certain questions so I don't get certain answers. What you're setting yourself up for is major disappointment. Because if someone tells you, you gotta listen to what they say. And the times in my life where I thought I knew better, then the person saying what they said, oh.
I love this guy. I love this guy. And I know it's taken us off the path of social media, but I love this guy because he was clear and he was upfront. So you could make a decision early on. And you can, so even though you felt like it wasn't going in your favor, it really was, because he was letting you know, listen, I do all this extra shit because I'm not really trying to be in a relationship, but I'm going to have a lot of fun when I'm doing it. So, so you got to make a choice. And see, I would have been, well, let me not, I'm going to shut up.
I wasn't mature enough for that. I wasn't mature. I probably thought I was going to be married by, the next year or something. I don't know. I was
right.
Also,
so relationships and social media, is it harmful or helpful? I think, one of the things we're talking about is, it takes your attention. It may take their attention away from the relationship. So if that's the case, arguing about the fact that they're spending time on social media doesn't get you through it. Talking about what you need, and most of the time you just need focused time at certain times. But let people be. If that's what they enjoy, let them enjoy it, unless they're doing things that it interferes with, like, they're cheating and they're in people's DMs. That's different. I'm just talking about if they're spending time on social media and you don't value it. If your partner enjoys it but you don't enjoy it, it's like anything else. If it's sports or whatever, you've got to find some time that you are connecting with them and stuff that they love. Even if you feel like it doesn't have value, it's not for you to decide what has value for another person. Just like I said, Dawn is on Clubhouse. I know she wants to have a show. There's an intention behind what she's doing, but somebody who's not curious and not looking at that will be like, oh my God, she's always on this damn Clubhouse. But for me, I see it as, I'm so proud of you, baby. I'm so glad that you're finding a platform that you can still talk in, and so she can get prepared for whatever blessing is coming her way. The other thing too is people having more access. People don't like that. We don't like that, partners are, people have access to them and they're in their DMs and they're flirting with them. But I think, like, if it's just like if you were at a party, you've got to decide where the boundaries are, what fits for the both of you. It doesn't look just one way. And, you could be with somebody who doesn't even care. They're like, I don't care. I know that you're coming home with me. It doesn't matter. And somebody else it may be sensitive. It may be a trigger. It may be something else that you've got to look at and you've got to lean in. If it's an issue for your partner, it's an issue for you. So you got to lean in and figure it out and figure out a way that you can move through it. I think the other thing that social media affects is that, it creates these unrealistic expectations of relationships, success, body image, beauty, like just a whole bunch of stuff. And you've just got to know that it's unrealistic. People are curating their lives and letting you know what they want you to know. And so you don't want to be online going, everybody's successful and not me. There's a lot of people living in hellholes talking about they're talking about the life that they want to create. And that's how they're doing it. So it doesn't mean that they're lying. It just means that they're trying to manifest their biggest dreams too. And then I think also when we use social media to be petty, when we use social media to respond to people, you're using social media to have conversations that you need to be having with that person. That's when it's petty and it causes all kinds of discord in your relationship. There's all kinds of other things, but social media is not the issue. It's being able to get through obstacles with you and your partner. So My joyful friends, that's our show. Thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe and leave a review. Share this episode with someone you think would get some value out of it. We look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Bye-bye now.